Well, good morning. This is Pastor Don, and welcome you to another edition of Lumps from the Coal Bucket. We're looking at Romans chapter 7, where the Apostle Paul discusses something that we are all very, very familiar with, and that's the war that rages within our own breast. The war that you and I fight as children of God between right and wrong, between doing the right thing and doing the wrong thing. And Paul tells us here in Romans chapter 7, first of all, that this war within exceeds our understanding. We just cannot get a grip on it. The things we want to do, we don't do. The things we don't want to do, we end up doing. And in short, it just drives us nuts, doesn't it? Here we are trying and trying and trying to please the Lord, but it seems like every time we turn around, we're right back in the same old condition. Well, Paul says that's a condition that every child of God has, and it's just understandable. Now, if a man like Paul couldn't understand it, then you and I certainly cannot understand it. Now, Paul goes on to say that the war within not only exceeds our human understanding, but it exceeds our human will. He said in verse 18, "For I know that in me, that is in my flesh, dwelleth no good thing. For to will is present with me, but how to perform that which is good I find not. For the good that I would do, I do not. But the evil which I would not do, that I do. Now if I do that which I would not, it is no more I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me. I find then a law that when I would do good, evil is present with me." Now, Paul says here, I have the desire to do good. He said here, to will to do good is present with me. I want to do the right thing. And I think that you also want to do the right thing. But the ability to do the right thing is not in us. You see, we can discuss our condition. We can diagnose our condition. We can deliberate our condition. We can desire to change our condition. But remember what Paul said here? The ability is not there. I don't know how to do that. And so that brings us to the dilemma that Paul faced and the dilemma that you and I face. There is an essential shortfall in our life. Paul said it this way: the sin that is in me does no good thing. And as we struggle with that, it produces a takeover in our life. We get to the point where we cannot control ourselves. War breaks out within. And why does that? Because my mind and my spirit belong to God, but sin dwells in the flesh. And because of that, there is this despair. It is an intense battle that goes on within our heart and within our mind. And there is this war. Paul said there's war in my members. Paul was simply saying that, number one, sin is in my flesh, but the word of God is in my mind. Remember the psalmist said, I will hide thy word in my heart, that I might not sin against God. And so Paul is experiencing that. He's experiencing this difficulty, this fight, this struggle within. the same things that you and I experience every day in our life. You're not long out of bed before the old devil comes around and the fight starts. A conflict. Now, many times other people are not aware of the conflict that goes on in our hearts and in our minds, ladies and gentlemen. But it's there. You know it, and I know it. And there is this despair that we face because of that constant conflict. When will it ever end? Well, the only time it will end is when you get to heaven. Because here, you still have to live in that old sinful body. But Paul said, thanks be unto God. He gives us the victory. He finishes this chapter on a high note by telling us that Christ has already won the victory. And you and I are not struggling for a victory. We're fighting from the victory He has already won for us. Hey, take heart. You're on the winning side. Well, this is Pastor Don thanking you for listening today and reminding you one more time, be good to everybody, because everybody's having a tough time. Good day, and may God bless.